Is about Kelcy Warren. All about Kelcy Warren, the billionaire CEO, owner of the parent and the parent company of the Bakken Dakota Access Pipeline LLC. The first part is going to be a general picture, and the second part will be more specific about the corporate structure and the acquisitions throughout the years. So Kelcy Warren is the CEO of Energy Transfer Partners. That's the parent company of the construction company Dakota Access LLC, which is constructing the Bakken pipeline. Now, he has Energy Transfer Equity, and it owns 1% of Energy Transfer Partners, but for some reason, him owning Energy Transfer Equity makes his investors feel more comfortable. So, Kelcy Warren is the CEO of the Energy Transfer Partners, which is the main corporation, it's not a corporation, but the main company that owns all the other companies. He is worth himself about $4 to $7 billion. Kelcy Warren is one of the top 200 richest people in America. So he's part of that billionaire class that Bernie Sanders was railing against. Kelcy Warren makes obscene amounts of money. He's got giraffes at his ranch. Giraffes. And javelinas, which are also known as pecannery, skunk pigs, which are disgusting, ugly animals, and gars. G-A-U-R-S. Gars. And gars apparently are some pissed off Asian bulls. He also has zebras and buffalo and giraffes. I don't know if I mentioned the giraffes. Kelcy Warren owns 4 or 5 ranches, about 20, 30, 40,000 acres total. Plus, Kelcy Warren owns a private island off the coast of Honduras near Roden. Kelcy Warren makes frequent trips to Tegucigalpa to talk about investing in Honduras, which also makes me think that he would support Hillary, since it was she who opened up the Honduran markets for Kelcy Warren. So he owns a nice jet. That's how he goes to Tegucigalpa to talk to the president. Him and the president are on a first-name basis, and he goes down there frequently. A private jet, 4 or 5 acres, and an island. He owns a Dassault Falcon 900 jet, a Dassault Falcon, and he owns other jets. So actually the owner of the Energy Transfer Partners collects airplanes like they're baseball cards, like how the Ochita Sakowin collects scalps. The Energy Transfer Partners said that the pipeline is anticipated to be fully functional by 2016. But they also said that 100% of the crude oil would be for domestic markets, which is not true at all. So ETP is sort of like Donald Trump. They'll say whatever it is that they need to say in order to close the deal. They will lie in order to get their way. The ETP, the Energy Transfer Partners, or a nickname that a commenter suggested, Earth Trashing Parasites. So the ETP, the Earth Trashing Parasites, though the commenter, she said that it was insulting to parasites, but it's a behemoth of a corporation. It acquires lots of capital. It acquired Sunoco. That's probably the biggest, most visible company that it's acquired. Sunoco is 5,000 gas stations, 4,900. So nearly 5,000 gas stations. And Stripes, and it's 600 convenience stores in Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. I've never actually heard of them, but they could be gas stations too. That would only make sense. Why would you just invest in a convenience store without the gas? So he's got 5,000 gas stations, 600 convenience stores. So even the domestic markets are going to tip in his favor. So that would be good for Sunoco and good for Stripes and good for exports in the world markets. They've also acquired Dreyfus, Southern Union Regency Energy Partners. So they've been acquiring a whole bunch of companies throughout the years. In fact, when they started out was when Enron went down. Enron, they own thousands of the same pipeline that Enron owns. Enron goes down, Energy Transfer Partners goes up. It's when it was first started, and they bought all that capital of Enron right out from underneath them. They went bankrupt, they went under, so all their capital went to Energy Transfer Partners. Now, Energy Transfer Partners do not pay any income tax whatsoever. They don't pay any income tax. And the reason why is because it's set up as a master limited partnership. It's not an LLC. It's not an INC incorporated. It's a MLP, a master limited partnership. And I'll explain that later, but it means that they pay no income taxes at all. They pay no income taxes. Kelcy, so they're like the churches, right? But not like the people. The people have to pay income taxes, but not Energy Transfer Partners. Kelcy Warren's ETP owns 71,000 miles of pipeline, and they plan on continuing to buy as many pipelines as they can. They just, they're junkies. They just want to keep on buying a whole bunch of stuff. And he wants to almost more than double it to 150,000 in the next 10 years. So this is, ambitious. He's going to hurry up and try to get this pipeline done before the end of 2016. So he's got to hurry up, build, start getting the gas all over the place and grow. Plus, he's got a huge mansion of a house on Billionaire's Row in Dallas. Inside the mansion, there's a chip and putt green. There's a 4-lane bowling alley, a 200-seat theater, and a pole vault pit. So that, skinny, strong, muscular man, he could do all the pole vaulting that Kelcy Warren, whatever he dreams up, whatever his heart desires. He could do all the pole vaulting he wants. There's also a baseball diamond there. So there's an investment meme here, which you'll have to see in the mp4. But these are all the companies that have invested in the Dakota Access Pipeline. And so this is fascinating. This is, a $4 billion project. There's a lot of banks that's behind this. And other companies that I've never even heard of. The Oppenheimer funds. Oppenheimer, wasn't he the one who created the nuclear bomb? Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Alps Advisors, Harvest Fund Advisors, Kane Anderson Capital Advisors. They put $20 million in. Goldman Sachs put 22.68. Oppenheimer put 19.66. Just going to read it straight down the list. Tortoise Capital Advisors, Morgan Stanley, Atlantic Trust, Appaloosa, ING Group, NV, GROEP, Clear Bridge Advisors, Newberger Berman. They put in 9.47 million. JP Morgan and Chase, Bank of Montreal, Bank of America Corporation, USB Group, AG Advisory Research, Appaloosa Management, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Citi, Miller Howard Investments, Advisory Research, UBS Group AG, Bank of America Corporation, Bank of America. So that would be that one guy on MSNBC, the Aleppo. It's Aleppo. His wife is a marketer of Bank of America. So there's a lot of, big banks. There's a lot of big banks that's invested in this. They have a lot of money. This thing is going to go through whether or not the Cheta Sakowin want it to or not, right? I mean, who are the politicians going to go with? The big bankers and the corporations and the oil companies, or the people? Come on. You live in this country. You know which way they're going to decide. They just called out the National Guard. So, of course, this Friday, he's supposed to have his ruling, that judge, right, James Boasberg. He's supposed to have a ruling today. And the National Guard was called out yesterday. So that pretty much tells me how that ruling is going to go. So, meanwhile, in America, 1/4 to half of our children are living in poverty. 44% are still renting. They're paying for the privilege of borrowing the space that they live in from another person. So that way they can help their landlords pay off their mortgage and increase their equity and overall worth. Here's a quick synopsis of what's going on near Cannonball, North Dakota. The entire 7 council fires of the Ochita Sakowin are there, most especially the Yanktonai Dakota of North Dakota, as well as the Hunkpapa Lakota of South Dakota. Both the Yanktonai Dakota and the Hunkpapa Lakota are part of the Standing Rock Reservation. And in fact, the Hunkpapa Lakota is of Sitting Bull fame and Custer's Last Stand. And there's actually 2 more important Native Americans that I forget with Custer's Last Stand, but I'm pretty sure they were Hunk Papa Lakota too. And there's over 2,500 people there, over 120 tribes. So this is the largest gathering of tribes, especially the Ocheetah, the Osheta-Sakowin, which are all the so-called Sioux, for what, that's what you racists call them. But the Osheti-Sakowin, all the 7 councils are there, 120 tribes, Meskwaki, Crow, and the Pawnee are even there, even though they were traditionally their enemies. But the Crow and the Pawnee are there, and they're all working hard to prevent the 1,100-mile 4-state black crude oil snake from assaulting Mother Earth. So again, the Osheti-Sakowin, Meskwaki, Crow, Pawnee, and over 120 tribes are working hard to prevent the black crude oil snake from tainting their river, the Missouri River, the mother source. The federal and state regulators are issuing a racist double standard policy. When the Dakota Access Pipeline was originally proposed, it was supposed to go 10 miles north of Bismarck, North Dakota, which is the capital city of North Dakota. But that plan was pulled because there's too many whites that would have been affected if there was a break or leakage into the Missouri River. So instead, the federal and state and Dakota Access Pipeline, LLC, the corporations, the regulators, decided that they would rather reroute the pipeline 40 miles south, away from Bismarck and closer to the Osheta-Sakowin, near the town of Cannonball, a half-mile above the Standing Rock Reservation. So if a leak or a break in the pipes did occur, it would only affect the Yanktonai Dakota and the Hunk Papa Lakota of the Osheta-Sakowin, the Osheti-Sakowin. And so it's a racist policy. If it's not good enough for Bismarck, North Dakota, why is it good enough for Cannonball? Why is it good enough for Standing Rock Reservation? You don't want to pollute all the white people, the 60,000 whites that are in Bismarck, the majority whites, but for the brown-skinned Yanktonai Dakota and the Hunk Papa Lakota, who cares, right? Just recently you had Governor Jack the Hack Dalrymple the Ball Pimple has called out the National Guard in order to help augment the police efforts at protecting the Capitol, the property, the corporation. This seems like a massacre might happen, or they're going to corral them, or they're going to wolf pack them and just surround them, arrest a whole bunch of people like they do whenever there's a big gathering in a city, throw them all in jails, disperse the crowd. But this just seems so reminiscent of what happened at Yahoo Falls, Kentucky, with the Cherokee and Hiram Big Tooth Gregory, when he massacred and wiped everybody out, or in Wounded Knee in 1890 with the Minneconjou Lakota and 38 Hunk Papa Lakota. Again, the Hunk Papa Lakota, Sitting Bull's people, who's living in the South Dakota portion of the Standing Rock Reservation, stood up against the U.S. 7th Cavalry. Or what about the second Wounded Knee incident in 1973? So what, 43 years ago? And that was confronting, the U.S. Marshals and the FBI were confronting the Oglala Lakota. Again, Lakota, Dakota, Nakota. These are all Oshetis, Osheti-Sakowins, the 7 council fires of the Sioux Nation. So that way you racists know what the hell I'm talking about. But it's like the Ho-Chunks. The Ho-Chunks were also Sioux speaking, but you know them as the Winnebago. You know them as the X&M. And you know what Winnebago means? The stinking people. And I think Sioux means snakes. So that's what another tribe had labeled them as to discredit them. And you carry on, hey, stinking people. Every time you go talk to a Winnebago, you say, hey, Winnebago, how are you doing? How's your tribe doing? It's like, did you just call me the stinking people? It's like the N-word. But what do you know about it? It's the Ho-Chunks, and it's the Osheti-Sakowin. Say it 20 times. That's the only way you can memorize it. Osheti-Sakowin, 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 Osheti-Sakowin. Another recent development, the North Dakota legislators have legalized the use of police drones. So you got the National Guard coming out, you got that ruling coming out, and now they're going to have all these drones. And while they tried to limit that there can't be any weaponized drones, they never got that passed. In fact, all they did was legalize the use of non-lethal police drones, but it's not illegal. If they don't specifically ban it, then it's not illegal. So there's, more invasions to our privacy. Now we have aerial invasions to our privacy. And then there's an inherent danger of those militarized police drones being weaponized. So now there's tasers and smoke bombs, sounds, cannons for white noise, tear gas, maybe even just straight up bullets and bombs. All being controlled by remote control by some guy miles away. So I don't know if you people understand the incredible amounts of obscene wealth that the CEO, Kelcy Warren, has. I briefly mentioned it, but he's so rich that he farts out fiat greenback paper currency and RMBs, renminbis, which have been added to the SDR basket of the IMF, which is, of course, used to supplement member states' official reserves. But I'm sure all of you Aleppo Savi Mike Barnacle ditto heads know exactly what I'm talking about. Kelcy Warren is so rich he pays orphans $1 a piece to get them to ask for more porridge, please. Please, sir, more porridge. Just for a laugh. Kelcy Warren is so rich he hires only pro-union employees who are voting for Jill Stein because he don't give a curse word. Kelcy Warren is so rich he's begging the U.S. government to apply the Warren Buffett tax on himself. Please, American government, American people, tax me something so he can help pay for the college and health care, child care, the family and medical leave, houses and infrastructure that the American people need. He's begging to be taxed more. Yeah, right. So, okay, so the details. The 61-year-old silver-haired white male Texan American citizen, I think. I need to see a birth certificate before I believe that crap. Kelcy Warren is one of the top 200 richest people in the United States of America. And the United Snakes of America, 181. He's number 181. So Kelcy Warren is worth over $4 billion, maybe up to $7.3 billion. Kelcy Warren is a part of the billionaire class, the 400 members in the billionaire club who make most of America's decisions. $400 billion to $7.3 billion. That's how much he is worth. I don't think you understand how big that is. 1 million is 6 zeros. 1 billion is 9 zeros. And he's got 7 times 9 zeros. With a 1 in front of it, 7.3 billion. So there's some Americans who believe that the greed of 50% of America when it comes to food stamps is destroying this country, but they don't think that the greed of 400 billionaires has anything to do with the direction our country goes. When it's them, they're the ones that make all the decisions. I wasn't consulted about any of the decisions of Frankfurt or D.C. or hell, not even in the town I'm at. Here's a little bit about Kelcy Warren's background. He grew up in an upper middle class in White Oak, Texas. Very privileged. His father worked in the oil industry. Kelcy Warren flunked out of the University of Texas at Arlington after a year partying and drinking, and then he went home to work for his dad's employer, Sun Pipeline, in the oil industry. Does that sound like somebody we know? It sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Kelcy Warren used to construct the pipelines. And he said that it was hot, dirty work. And so he was like, oh, I don't really want to do this hard work. So he goes and returns to the University of Texas. He gets an engineering degree in 1978 and then took a $1,333 a month job designing pipelines for the Lone Star Gas Company in Dallas. Kelcy Warren is now married with his third wife. Does that sound familiar? 3 wives. It's all Republicans, man. He is such a Republican. He's married to a 50-year-old white female named Amy. Kelcy Warren now lives in North Dallas. He has 1 child, Clyde Warren. And because Kelcy has donated millions to Dallas, he was able to get a park named after his son, Clyde Warren's honor. So the Clyde Warren Park is located in downtown Texas, Dallas, Texas. So you can go check it out right now. I'm sure that spoiled rotten kid will be a great MLK kind of leader, a great champion for the poor and oppressed. I'm sure he won't be a spoiled rotten, stuck-up farmer bro type of guy. In fact, I think he actually kind of worked his way up. So more like a Walmart kid. Kelcy Warren also owns an 8,000-acre ranch near Cherokee, Texas, and he owns other ranches in eastern Texas. 8,000 acres. His 11,000-acre ranch is located northwest of Austin. That's where he has all the exotic animals, the javelinas and the hulking, ill-tempered species of Asian oxen called the gar, and the giraffes and the buffalo and the zebras and the giraffes and the javelinas. What's the javelinas? I like that name a little bit better than the gars. The gars, they look like just mean bulls. The gars and javelinas. 2010, Kelcy Warren bought a 3,500-acre ranch in southwest Colorado for $46.5 million. So that's 3 big, large swaths of land. Now, Kelcy Warren owns a house on Lake Tahoe. Kelcy Warren and Amy currently live in a different house, a mansion in Preston Hollow, Dallas, Texas, a 10-acre estate on Park Lane, valued at more than $25 million, in a 23,000 square foot mansion in the pricey Preston Hollow neighborhood. One mansion in Preston Hollow was on sale in April for $33 million. Warren's 6-bedroom, 13-bathroom home has a chip and putt green, 4-lane bowling alley, 200-seat theater where the Billionaire's musician pals play private concerts, and a pole vault pit for all of his pole vaulting needs. For all you pole vaulters out there, you got a place if you get in good with Kelcy Warren to go pole vaulting. He also has a polished 12-foot section of an oak tree, which gives his 12-year-old son Clyde's bedroom the feel of a treehouse. Man, I want my bedroom to feel like a treehouse. And of course, Kelcy Warren owns a private island off the coast of Honduras near Roatan. R-O-A-T-A-N. Roatan. A private curse word island. YouTube keeps demonetizing my videos. You know, when a Lake Tahoe house and 4 more ranches, 20,000 acres of land, including one small 3,500-acre ranch worth $47 million, and a $33 million mansion, and giraffes and the javelinas and the gars and the zebras and private jets just aren't enough, why not go ahead and get yourself a private Neverland island on the coast of Roatan, Honduras? Jesus, curse word Christ. I think Kelcy Warren would want to vote for Hillary Clinton since she was behind that 2009 corporate coup d'etat of Honduras that allowed for the shock therapy of the neoliberal corporations that he lucratively benefits off of. Of course, Honduras. Well, not of course, like the way I was saying it, but of course, Honduras also became the #1 murder capital of the world, and then Berta Cáceres was assassinated by the government. She was an environmental activist. But once what does a bunch of dead environmental activists and poor refugees mean to the 1%? What does Kelcy Warren care about a bunch of dead environmental activists and poor refugees? What does Hillary Clinton give a crap about them? Kelcy Warren also personally owns a Dassault Falcon 900 jet and other jets, meaning plural. He owns jets, plus that land in Colorado, so I wonder if he's running marijuana to Honduras too. Maybe he's like Drew Thornton or Mitch McConnell's people, and he's running cocaine. Around May 19th, 2015, Kelcy Warren meets with the president of Honduras in Tegucigalpa to discuss with him about a potential project. This is from an article that I read. When Kelcy Warren is asked about his wealth, he acts surprised. In fact, Kelcy Warren says, and I quote, "To be where we are today, it's like a dream. I swear to God, I almost think we did it without anybody noticing." And he probably did. He's able to acquire this obscene amounts of wealth without anybody noticing. And you know where his political leanings are? In 2015, Kelcy Warren donated $6 million to Governor Rick Perry's presidential campaign. Rick Perry wants to get rid of the departments of commerce, education, and energy. Oh, why you want to get rid of the Department of Energy? Oh, I know why. So there's no regulations, and the oil companies can do whatever the hell they want to do. Big shocker there, right? Surprise, surprise. And recently, former Governor Rick Perry of Texas urged lawmakers to lift the ban on crude oil only 1 month after joining the board of Energy Transfer Partners, the parent company of Dakota Access Pipeline. Filings reveal that Energy Transfer Partners also directly lobbied H.R. 2029, the legislation that lifted the export ban on crude oil last December. So, Energy Transfer Partners pushes our legislators to lift the ban on exports. And you're going to tell me that 100% of that oil is going to be domestic? Get out of here, man. Get out of here. I do believe that they're going to try to finish in 2016, which means the rush is all that more important. That's why I am guessing, I don't know, James Boasberg seemed like he was kind of being reasonable. Half of it, the injunction, he went with the natives, and the other half, he went with the corporation. But then he said, we'll wait on Friday. And he's like, I hope y'all come to some agreement before then. And so, Rick Perry, they recently got that ban on exports lifted. So when the earth trashing parasites say that it's only going to be for the United States, they're lying. And it's also going to help Sunoco, mostly, out of everybody. So, no, I don't believe Kelcy Warren. I believe he'll say whatever it is he needs to say in order to get his pipeline built. That's the most important thing. Get that pipeline built regardless of the consequences, regardless if there might be a leak or a breakage and it goes into the water source. And do people want to say that it's the safest way to transport oil? Maybe, but you know what's safer? Not having a pipeline at all. And how safe is it? There's at least 2 explosions or leakages every year. So it's not perfectly safe. And if there's fracking that's going on, how likely is it that there's going to be earthquakes? Earthquakes in Oklahoma all the time. And I heard that the estimation is like there's at least 2 major disasters every year. So Kelcy Warren also owns Music Road Records. Kelcy Warren says that all you got to do to get some bull curse word you wrote on a record is invest in a record company. So, and then Kelcy Warren chuckles. So to all you musicians out there, all you need to do to get your music on a record label, just buy the damn company. If you just buy the damn company, then you will have your own record label. Put whatever bull spit that you want. And then if you invest in the record company, you're golden. You won't go platinum. Nobody will listen to you because it's only you and your buddies that's, stoking each other. So that concludes part 1. Coming up, it's going to be all the corporations, the acquisitions, the tax scheme. How do they get out of the income taxes? What are the companies that have been bought out? And much, much more coming up.